Myself, I've started Axiom Verge. We talked about that last time. There's only two of us on here, and I'll keep my thoughts about that for another podcast.
Okay.
I reckon I'm about a third of the way through. A game I did finish, and I finished very recently yesterday. I won it in another Twitter competition. It's been a good end to the 2019. Two Twitter competition wins. Was New Super Lucky's Tale. 3D platformer in the vein of, I would say, Mario Odyssey, because it is that kind of, but it's not as expansive and as open as Mario Odyssey. Story: bad guy Jinx and his kitty litter. He's surrounded by these cats, and they're quite cute. And this book of ages that controls magic is ripped apart and scatters everyone, including Lucky, who's this fox, and his sister. They get separated from each other, and Lucky gets shot through a portal and needs to collect the pages of the Book of Ages and beat Jinx and his army of cats. Nice simple setup, nice cute characters. If anything, the characters in the game are a little underwhelming. They're very generic, and the game is massively full of puns. And I mean, I don't mind a pun now and again, but wow, every single line that comes out of someone's mouth is some sort of pun or play on English words. The worms, for example, there's these hillbilly worms, and every time they speak, they're talking about vegetables or something that grows out of the ground, for like, have a very good time. And every single sentence has got something in it, like, it starts to grate after a while.
Are they? Do you think they're going for that, like, 90s rare kind of?
Yes,
But
yes, and it's not hitting the humor. It's like, it's cringeworthy at times. And because it's you can tell this game when you play in it, it is easy. There are crisp visuals. It's very colourful. It's very bright, and the whole game is permeated by what feels like a children's game, and it does play like a children's game as well. So the movement in Mario, he's I'm obviously going to compare it to Mario games, but when you're playing a 3D Mario game, it's especially Odyssey. I went back to that just to see how he controls. And Mario turns on a dime, and he's fast and he's fluid, and you can put all these moves together. Whereas the first time I played Lucky, he seemed a little stiff. And the only reason he's stiff is because he's a bit slow. And you think, oh yeah, he is a bit plodding. If you want to go from A to B and the distance is quite far, you feel like you're walking there and you're plodding along, and his movement is slow. But the more you play it, the more you realize they have tailored it for children, younger audience, and that slow movement does help with the platforming. Most certainly it does. It makes sure you don't fall off a ledge somewhere, especially on later levels. Usual platforming stuff: B button jumps, tap it twice, you do a double jump. Y button attacks with his tail, he does a little spin around. But then you can link them together in like a triple jump, so you can jump, double jump, tail spin to get a little bit of extra length in your jump. And what I quite like about his attack is if you're jumping and attacking an enemy, if you tailspin and continuously tailspin, you'll stay suspended in the air and continually tailspin. So you can attack people 4 or 5, 6 times, depending on how fast you can get those tailspins in. That also makes it easy for attacking enemies. You can finish enemies off in no time at all. Usual attacks, so jump on them. Lucky can also dig underground with the ZR or ZL button. So as long as you're in a kind of grassland, you press the ZL button, Lucky will automatically dig underground and then will move. He will move regardless of you pushing in a direction. It's one of those continuous moving things, which adds some puzzle elements to later levels where you have to dig and jump over platforms. And then you can jump out from under an enemy and hit them that way as well. It does, even though it's quite slow in movement, it feels well put together, you know, the way that you can link all these moves together, from diving underground, jumping out, triple jumping with this tailspin and coming back underground, and everything flows naturally. And I suppose that's and also shows that the kind of level design they've had works well. Levels, so there's 6 worlds. The 6th world itself is some post-game content. So there are 5 worlds in the main campaign, and each world has got a theme. They're not as diverse as something like a Mario would have, like a lava theme and an ice theme, but they tend to be more Banjo-Kazooie-esque, you know, variations. There's like a desert island, there's a tropical island rather, there's a mountain resort for yetis, and there's a hillbilly farm. So they're all very similar in their outlook, you know, as there's earth everywhere for Lucky to duck and crawl under. Then those are hub worlds basically. So there are 6 hub worlds. And then in each hub world, just like in Mario, you jump into a doorway to take you through to the proper levels.
Okay.
And there are about 5 levels in each hub world. I think one of them has 6, but most of them have 5. And then each of those levels can be one of 3 things. It's either a puzzle level, which is like, could be a monkey ball style tilt game, which is weird because it's from a fixed perspective. And when the ball goes to the back of the screen, it's very difficult to judge distance, and you can end up falling off the edge or hitting spikes or whatever. Then there's these tile sliding puzzles as well. There's also chase sections, which are runners, automatic runners from left to right. Then there's 2D platforms, so there's 2 kind of style of 2D platformers. And then there's the big open 3D world levels, which are the best. They are quite large in size, and they hide and pack many hidden bits and pieces in each level. You get 3 hearts per life. Once you take a hit, you lose 1 heart. Once you lose 3 hearts, you get kicked out of the level, and you'll go back and start either at the beginning of the level or the last checkpoint you got to. And each level requires you to do 4 things. Finish the level, you get a 1 page. You're collecting pages. So you finish a level, you get a page. You pick up 300 coins in a level, you get a page. You find a missing page, what's called a hidden page from the book, you get that page. And last of all, you got to collect all the Lucky lucky letters that are hidden in the level. Most of these you'll fly through and do first time you play the level. I mean, you'll go from one end of the level to the next end of the level, and you'll find everything. There must have been, out of say there's 30 levels in the whole game, out of the 30 levels, I think about 3 of them there were that I thought, I can't quite find the letter Y, I can't quite find the hidden page. I'll need to go back in and do the level again. Which can be annoying, especially on the 2D runner levels. You have to start from the beginning. You have to end at the end. You can't pick up what you want and then drop out of the level. You got to go the whole thing. What is lucky is that, say you pick up LUC in your first run, the next time you go in, you only have to pick up the K and the Y.
So it saves it.
You don't have to, it saves it. So it makes it quicker and easier. You don't have to do those hard little jumps in the beginning. Okay, I'll just concentrate on getting the last 2 letters. Overall, boss fights. Boss fights are invariably these square platforms in the middle of the screen, and then the boss is off in the distance. The boss will send a flurry of attacks. You'll dodge the attacks, whether they be lasers or hammer slams or something like that, and then you have to do something like, for example, hit a bomb back at the enemy or hit some switches, and then that attacks the boss. Usual take 3 hits, you win the round. Overall, I found the game a little too easy. There was a ramp up in difficulty in the post-game content, which is World 6, and the last final boss of the game was a slight struggle. But even though it's a little bit too easy, it was enjoyable. I did enjoy my time with it. 12 hours I put into it,
It's okay.
which was a little bit shorter than I thought, but
Well, I'd heard 5 for the
5.
Well,
Ooh,
because
you'd have to be flying.
this
Yeah.
this isn't like the second remake they've done, isn't it?
Yes, it
Of
is.
the
yeah.
original. The original was 5 hours. I heard some
Yeah.
people say 5 hours.
Okay.
So 12's not bad for this.
Because I had used
this time of
20.
platformer.
So as I got to finish World 5, I'm like, oh, the credits, blinking heck. That was quick. And then World 6 is obviously post-game content, which has more levels than the usual levels, but they tend to be shorter levels. But fun. It is fun, but it is, if you're picking it up, I know you have, it is aimed at a slightly younger audience.
Okay. I enjoyed the demo. I really liked, like, as you were saying before about the going underground and popping back up and like putting everything together. It feels good. I like the mechanics, so I thought I'd give it a try.
And there are some coin collecting bits. You know, you collect a timer, and then timed coins will pop up, and they've done a great job in some levels of linking. You know, and you have to go underground to collect some coins, and you have to jump out to get some coins, and it feels really good to get that line and collect every coin in order and pull it all off in one go. It feels good. It runs good. There's no frame rate issues throughout the entirety of the game. So apart from the cheesy puns and the bad character design, it's worth it, I think.
Yeah.
Especially if you've got a family.
Okay.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button and give us a like if you've enjoyed our content. You can also check out our other great content on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and the N-E Café podcast from all good podcast providers. Just follow the links in the description below.